One of the elements that negatively affect the performance of a 3D application is frequent communication between the GPU and the CPU. To keep your games running smooth, you need to keep this communication less frequent. There are two main factors that increase this communication: DrawCalls and SetPass calls. A draw call is a call to the GPU to draw objects. Meshes that use different materials cannot be sent to the GPU in a single draw call to be rendered. Thus they cause a lot of draw calls. One way around this problem is to combine several meshes together, ultimately lowering their count. A SetPass call is when all the data from a material for rendering a mesh is set up. Each time a material is changed, it results in a new SetPass call. To lower this number, you can merge materials to keep their count low. In short, if you have a complex scene containing a lot of 3D models with a lot of meshes using different materials, the overall performance of your game will suffer. Batch Few is a mesh combining and material merging solution for Unity. It aims to solve this problem by allowing you to optimize high-quality complex 3D scenes by lowering draw and SetPass calls with a few clicks. All without the need of writing even a single line of code. Mesh and material combining are especially useful when developing for resource-constrained platforms like mobile phones or other low-end devices. This also helps eliminate your expenses for artists. Let's show you how to get started. After importing the package, you'll get a folder named Batch Few in the Assets directory. It's highly advised that you don't modify this folder or its contents in any way. Batch Few requires that the gizmos from the scene view are enabled, and have the transform gizmos checked. By default, Batch Few's UI would pop up in the inspector for every selected game object. If you want to change the default settings, you can modify them from the menu's toolbar by going to Window, Brainfail Products, Batch Few, Disable Auto UI Attaching. To combine materials, select multiple objects whose materials you wish to combine, or select the top-level parent element of such objects. Clicking on the model reveals the Batch Few inspector window in the components hierarchy. You will see various settings that you can tweak. Batch Few uses texture arrays for combining materials. Each texture in a texture array has to have the same settings. We can change these settings for each individual texture array that is generated by selecting one from the Texture Map Array drop-down. After selecting a texture array, we can modify various settings like the resolution of the textures, filtering mode, compression type, and more. After changing the settings, click the Combine Materials button to start the process. Wait for the process to complete and save the scene afterwards. We can see a few new assets that Batch Few has created for us. These include the combined material, the texture array, a special texture, and the modified meshes. Even though all of the objects use the same material now, you can still modify individual material properties for each object. Simply click an object that has the new combined material and the Batch Few inspector shows you the material settings for the object. Make sure to click Apply in order to keep the changes persistent. Let's combine meshes for the food items. Start by selecting the top-level parent root object. All the meshes, including the deep-nested ones in the children, will now be considered for the mesh combining operation. From the Batch Few interface, click the Combine Meshes button to start the process. Choose the type of objects you want to combine. Now choose if you wish to generate UV2 with default settings for each mesh. Wait for the process to complete and save the scene afterwards. We can see a new game object created for us that has combined the meshes into one single mesh. And that's all, we're done.